Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So it's my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today's the Delicate Shells Crochet Shawl. Today I'm going to be coloring outside of the lines, so if that's something that bothers you, today is not your video. But I'm going to be showing you some cheating techniques today in order to assist you in order to get through this particular pattern. It is not hard, but there's going to be some things that may bother you if you're not getting the right stitch count, and I'm going to show you how to cheat. So today we're going to be working through this pattern. There is a stitch diagram that's available to you. It's on the third page, and you can see all of the written notes, so that's page number 3 technically, and you have all the information if you would like to read the instructions. But what I'm going to do, and this is my second time filming this, I got halfway through and I was so confused I had to turn it off and walk away. So today's yarn of choice is called Red Heart. It's a wrap rainbow. Now when you're using this, you can either go from the center to the outside or the outside in. It's up to you and how you would like to do it. This does need 2 balls. So you're going to notice in the sample here is that when you get through the entire ball, you take the next ball and you restart up, and it's being specific about that, and you can read that in the instructions if you wish. If I were you and you were me though, I would kind of axe out that idea, and when you finish a ball, so if I go from the outside, like the outside and then in, this is the color. So the next ball, what I would do is start on the inside and then go out, and you'll have a seamless transition of your particular shawl that you would have. So that's something that I would be considering instead of starting from this the same spot on 2 different balls. I would actually do that so you get transition. That's up to you. I love this yarn so much. I don't have a lot of it in stock, so I'm going to be substituting today with Caron 1 Pound, and I'm going to be demonstrating all those particular steps, and let's talk about the repeats that's going to happen in this particular pattern. So here's the bad boy diagram again. If you would like to change the size, you can see that this is the repeat here. The repeat to do this, this whole bottom section is done separately on its own, and then you're going to start then row number 2 on the side of these stitches. So it's going to like start up like a pillar, like a column. So when you crochet it, it's going to start up like this. Now how many do you need? Well, it tells you that in the pattern, which I will get to, but if you make an odd number of these, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. If you do an odd number, you can change the size of this particular shawl and keep the balance. Okay, let's begin our first row, and it's the column that I talked about, and we're going to create a slip knot. So what we have to do whenever we're starting a new scalloped area, we're going to always have to chain a total of 5. So we'll chain 5 right from the start, so that doesn't count as 1. So let's begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now the 5th one away is where I want to put in 2 double crochet. Just like that. Now you're not going to turn your work, and you're now going to chain another grouping of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I would go in the back hump of the 5th one back, which is the very first one you started with, and then you were going to put in 2 more double crochet. So 1 and 2. And then so you see you got 2 now. Now you can add another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go to the first one and put in 2 double crochet. So what I need you to do is make a certain number of these. So if you'd like to do the sample, let's quickly talk about that in just a second. So to do the sample, you have to have 95 of these done. But again, as I said, if it's an odd number like 97 or 99, anything like that, you can still work this out. So as long as it's not an even number. Just for tutorial purposes, I am going to do a total of 7 of these, and then I'm going to be swatching my way all the way to the end of this project with you. So get as many that you want to get done, and then we'll review number 2 in just a moment. So let's look at this. We now have 7 complete. So it's an odd number, so I can do this particular pattern just to show you. In row number 2, we're going to start off with an edge and an edge on the other side, and we're going to follow through what's in here. The reason why I say that is that the edging is pretty much the same almost all the way through this, except for when there's a half double crochet row, then it slightly changes in the instruction that we're going to do. So what I want you to remember is that the edging is pretty much always going to be the same, with the exception with just I believe 4 rows that will appear in this particular project, which is the half double crochet rows. So let's start, and we're going to work on number 2 in just a second. In row number 2 we have to get ourselves to the side of that post. So when we finished it, it looked like this. We're just turning it and gonna work across, and so the scalloping will face down. So you're going to go in between the 2 posts and slip stitch to start your journey of number 2. You're going to begin by chaining 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will give a scalloped look on the side of your particular shawl. And in the same post you want to put in 3 more double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. Before you begin, and because it's an edge, you want to chain 1 first, and then you're going to do the same thing all the way across. So on the sides of each one of these posts you're going to place 4 double crochets in them. So you're not gonna chain 1 between them, you're just gonna slam in 4 double crochets in the side of the post to build it up along the edge here. So once that 4 is in, immediately jump to the next one and do that one. So let me go all the way across, and I'll see you on the very last one because we have to change it up a little bit. Remember how we chained 1 before we started that? So we're gonna have to chain 1 before we do the last one and then just finish it off. Let's see you at the end of this line in just a moment. So as you come along, you're eventually gonna have the last one. So before you start the last one, just chain up 1 first, and in the side of the post you're only gonna put 3 double crochet in first. So 1, 2, and 3, and the very last stitch going in here will be a treble. So wrap that hook twice and then treble in, and then that will conclude off that side. So you're going to turn your work, and let's begin row number 3, and we're gonna begin that next. We want to keep these outside looking like a scallop, so we can't start exactly where we are right now. So what we have to do is that we have to come back and come into basically the second stitch of the group. Okay, so right here. So technically it's the third one from the edge. So you're just going to slip stitch into the first one and then slip stitch into the next, and you see that will create a scallop. You're going to begin doing a beginning shell. So you're gonna chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the same one that you did that slip stitch into, you need to put in 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, like that. See? And now you got that scallop that looks like the bottom. So now you're going to begin and you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Looking at the next grouping of 4, you want to put in a double crochet in the second one, followed by a chain 1, and in the very next stitch another double crochet in. You're making space for a fan to be going in on top of this later. So once that's done, you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the next grouping of 4 I need you to go in the space that is between the 2 middle ones. So not into a stitch, go right into a space, and you're going to single crochet and then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and do you see what we did over here, right here? We're gonna do that again in the next group. So come into the second one, double crochet, followed by a chain 1, and then come immediately to the next one and double crochet and then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the next grouping of 4 come in between the 2 middle ones, single crochet, and you're going to do that all the way across. So you'll have up and down motion with this particular idea. So you'll have 2 groups, like 2 sets of that, or a set of that, a set of this, followed by these single crochets in the middle. But eventually you'll come to the very end of this. So let's just review on how we're gonna do that. So put me on pause and wait for the end if you need to. So just chain 3 right where you are, and in this next grouping it's just like, you know, you're going to double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet immediately into the next one, and then you're gonna come to the edge. So the edge, you're gonna chain 3 to get there first, right there, and you are going to come into the second one. Do you see that? The second one, and you're going to put in 3 double crochet. So 1, 2 and 3, but you're not done. Oops, this is the third, but you're not done. You want to put in a treble as your fourth stitch, and that will create the scallop look, and that will conclude off row number 3. So turn your work and see what we've done, and we're now going to move to row number 4. So in row number 4, remember how we started before with this moving on over. So we're gonna slip stitch to the next and to the next one. So you can see it's the second one away from this side. On this side you're going to do that beginning shell, so you can chain 5. So 1 2 3 4 5, and in the same stitch 3 more double crochet. So this time coming out of the gate, remember how we chained 3? This time it's only going to be 2. So 1 and 2, and you're going to come in between. So look at these as a goalie post, okay, and you're gonna play between the posts that you have, okay, and you are going to ignore these single crochets that went down in between. So starting in the first one, you're going to double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet again in that goalie spot, and then chain 1, and then again double crochet, and then chain 1 and double crochet. You should see a total of 4 double crochets in here that each have a chain 1 space that's in between them. You see that? 1 2 3 4, and then there's chain 1 chain 1 chain 1. Once you're done that, you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then come to the next goalie post over here and do the exact same thing. So double crochet first to start, chain 1, and then double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. See, so you see the grouping of 4, and then just go to the next one. You're just gonna chain 2 and go in between the next goalie posts. So I want you to do this all the way across. This is row number 4, and eventually the party will end, and I'll show you how to finish the ending in just a moment. So put me on pause, get to the end, and then push play when you're ready. If this is your last one, remember how we chained 2 to get it started. So when we finish the last one, we chain 2 and we come immediately into the second one, and you're going to put in 3 double crochet first, 1 2 and 3, and polish it off with a treble, and then that will conclude that row. So this is row number 4. Let's turn our work and do row number 5. Let's begin row number 5. We're gonna create these goalie spots like the goal posts that we had before. This time the difference is that where we're positioning it is going to be slightly different, because we started with these 4 groups, the grouping of 4 here at the base. This time we're going to be playing within these particular shells. Let's begin, and we need to slip stitch ourselves to the second one that you have. Do you see that? And then begin again. So chain 5. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then 3 double crochet into that same stitch. Once you're ready, you're going to chain 3. So it's like we did before. So chain 3. So 1 2 3, and do you see that this fan, you want to play within the second one and the third one when you go to play. So you're going to double crochet in the first one that you run into, which is the second one, and when I say the first one, it's the first goal post is going in, okay, and then chain 1, and then go to the next one here right beside it and double crochet in. So you're putting in your goal post there. To come down, you're going to chain 3. So 1 2 3, and go around this chain 2 space as a single crochet. Okay, so you're creating a new goal post. So chain 3, 1 2 3. Here's the next grouping of 4. Go to the second and the third one. So double crochet in the second one, followed by a chain 1 and double crochet into the third one. Okay, chain 3. So 1 2 3, single crochet into the chain 2 space, and then chain 3 to begin. 1 2 3, and then come into the second one, chain 1 and come into the third one. So put me on pause and do this all the way across, and then I will do the edging in just a second. If you're sticking with me for the edging, just chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and come into the second one and put in 3 double crochet, and followed by a treble after that, and that will conclude off row number 5. Let's turn our work and begin row number 6. Row number 6, we're gonna do this fan like one more time in this particular section of this. So you're going to slip stitch over, so you're in the second one, and you're going to chain 5 and then double crochet 3 times into that same one. So the next row is when we're going to do a slight different change on the ends, but for now just keep doing what you know. You're only gonna chain 2 because that's what we did when we did these fans before, so chain 2, and playing in between the goalposts again, you're putting in those fans. So you'll double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. So you should see 4 double crochets in there, and they're separated by chain 2, and then just jump in between the next goalposts and do the same thing. So do this all the way across. I'll meet you in the end of this row. We've already done this before, so I'll see you at the end of the row. So once you're in your last shell, just chain 2 and go to the second one and put in your 3 double crochet as always, and then followed by a treble, and that was row number 6. So in row number 7, which is just a second, we're gonna be changing the story. So make sure you turn and we'll talk about row number 7 before we begin. So row number 7 is a half double crochet row. Every time there's a half double crochet row we're gonna be doing this, so making sure that you know that. So it does appear, I believe, 4 times in this particular sample. So in order to start, we have to still move over to the second one in row number 7 like we did, and this time we're only gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in the same one this time it's only gonna be 3 half double crochets. So they're not doubles anymore, they're halves. So put in 3 of those, and now going forward, starting in between the first double crochet and the second one, so you're just gonna reach on over, you're going to put in 2 half double crochets there, and you're gonna keep putting in 2 half double crochets into each gapping space. So gap, 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 gap all the way to the end, and you'll stop at the last gapping one here. So you'll finish the last gap here, and then that's where I'm gonna pick you up. So put in 2 half double crochets into each one of the gapping spaces in between the stitches, and I'll see you at the end of the row to make sure that you finish correctly. So once I'm all the way across, I just filled in this last gap. So you're not going in here at all. You're going to reach over to the second one and put in 3 half double crochets first. So 1, 2, and 3, and then the last stitch, the 4th one, will be a double crochet. And that was row number 7. So turn your work and let's begin row number 8, where we're gonna start doing some mesh. As we begin to do row number 8, it's imperative that you're watching your stitches carefully at this moment. So half double crochets have a tendency to get lost in the stitches, but just be consistent in order to get this to work. It's not hard, it's just a matter of paying attention. So right where we are, we still need to go to the second one over for when we're going to do this. So you see what I'm saying? It's kinda hard. So this first double crochet and the first half kinda look like they belong together, but they don't. We're going to the second one. So if you're not sure, just look. 1 and 2. That's where we're gonna end up going. Okay, in this case it's gonna appear like it's just 1 slip stitch away. Starting in this stitch, you're going to chain your 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3 double crochets into the same one. It's the half double crochets where I'm gonna have you cheat the system later, because you can lose your way pretty easily in that. So what you have to do is that you know you're in the second one, and you have to jump over this spacing that you see here. Okay, this is just the first stitch. So you wanna come into the second stitch, which is right here. Do you see that? It looks like it's 3 away, and so you're going to double crochet, so now that that's in, you're going to chain 1. Now it's kind of confusing, so you have one more stitch before this finishes. We know that because we're in the second one, and then this is the first stitch of this, and this is the one you need to skip, and you're gonna come into this stitch right here. It looks like it's 3 away, so just trust in it and just just double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next. And what I want you to do is do that all the way across, and I'll show you how to finish this row. So skip 1 and double crochet in the next, followed by chain 1, skip 1, double into the next. Please do this all the way across. I'll show you how to finish this in just a moment. When you get all the way across, you're gonna come into the very last one, which is right here, and then you're going to skip over the first one and go to the second one, which is the grouping of the edge. Make sure you chain 1 before you do that though. And so you'll put in the second one, which appears to be here because this is the first one, this is the second, and it will be 3 double crochet first, followed by a treble, and that will conclude off row number 8. So you're gonna turn your work and let's do number 9. So number 9, 10, and 11 will all be the same. So I'm going to kick you off to get that started, and then I'll have you do some homework, and then just meet me back here in just a moment. So this is now rows number 9, 10, and 11. So we have to just come back to where we are to the second one as always, and chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the same one you'll put in your 3 double crochet. So this is how you do rows number 9, 10, and 11. So once that's done, chain 1 and double crochet into the same one that already has the double crochet. So you're maintaining the mesh straight up like a graph. So chain 1, go into the next double crochet, chain 1, and go into the next double crochet. So do this all the way across. I'll see you at near the end of the row to make sure that you're finishing it right, and then I'll have you do the remaining of those rows, and then we'll pick it up and I'll do this the remaining on my own behind the scenes. So once you get near to the end, you have your last one. You can see the meshing is working. So chain up 1 and come into your second one and polish it off with a 3 double crochet first, followed by a treble. Now this is row number 9. So you're gonna turn your work and you're gonna do 2 more rows of this. So you'll do 10 and 11. I'm gonna leave that for you to do, and so you should see 4 rows of this. So this is 1, 2, and then you'll have to do 10 and 11. So maybe at the end of number 11, and we'll start row number 12 where we have to go solid once again, and then we're gonna be switching to something new. Let's do that. So I'll see you after the end of row number 11. So now I've just finished up to row number 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 of these, what appears to be train tracks. Now we're going to move on to row number 12. In 12 we're gonna get solid once again, and it's a matter of how we start and how we finish in order to get the balance to be back solid once again. Let's start row number 12 in just a second. Let's begin row number 12. This is a half double crochet row, so make sure that when we go to start you're doing it properly. So you're just going to slip stitch and get over to the second one there, and then you begin. It's a half double crochet row, so only chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and put in 3 half double crochets into the same one. Now when we go to start this, when we start row number 12, we're immediately gonna come in and come into the first double crochet that makes up the mesh, and that's where you're gonna start. So your half double crochet there, and then go into the space for the next one, and then the double crochet is the next one, and then the space is the next one after that, and you'll do that all the way across. But how you finish is important, so I will meet you there in just a moment. So put in double crochets, put in half double crochets in each one of the double crochets and chain 1 spaces till you get close to the other side, and I'll see you there in a moment. So I'm getting close to the edge, so I'm gonna fill in the last double crochet with something, and this space here I am going to put in a half double crochet because it tells us to do that. So we'll put in that, and then we are going to immediately come to the second one and put in 3 halves first, followed by a double crochet. So let's turn and work and do row number 13, and 13 is where we get to cheat a little bit. So let me show you that. In row number 13, what we have to do is that we have to get ourselves established to go to these. Now in these kind of projects, if it's not going in the right spot, it'll make it look wrong. So then for example, instead of being straight up like this, you will see that it's kind of skewing a little bit, and then the next one may be just a little bit wrong as well. So what I like to do is that I like to look at the stitch work in order to get it to work. So I'm looking at the tips that I see. So I'm looking straight down and I see that the second one is matching the second one here. So I'm going to look straight down in order to get that. And the reason why I'm doing that is that if I keep following it straight down, it's gonna be pretty much equal to itself all the way down. So what I want to do is just kind of match that. The one in the middle, it says to go in between the 2 half double crochets that you have in order to make that work. That's where I always find I screw it up the most. So what I'm doing is that I'm looking at how many half double crochets are there, and I'm just pinpointing with this plus sign of just roughly where I want to put it, and then be able to use this. So I'm going to use these markers here to be able to determine where I'm going to put these goalposts in order to make it work. And if I do that, then these goalposts should match up when it gets up there. That's just my little tip. Do what you want, but that's what I'm gonna be able to show you in just a second. So let's begin lucky row 13. Let's go to the second one over, and we're back to the chaining of 5 to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put in 3 double crochet into that same one. So I want to look to where the second goalpost is. So see these two down here? I'm looking to this one. So that one here, if I follow it straight up, I should be able to skip the right amount of stitches in order to do that. So technically the first one is the 4th stitch away. See how I just followed that up and it just got it right there? 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th. So before I begin to do that though, I want to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and I want to go to the 4th one away. And then I'm going to put in a chain 1, and then I'm going to come down into the next available stitch and double crochet. Now it's the one that I always get screwed up, is that I look down and I want to kind of match it up. So what I would do if you weren't watching me, see how this is coming up? I would just follow this line straight up and say I'm putting it right there. So chain 3 before you do that, and just follow it straight up and say bam, that's where it's gonna go. And then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And do you think that you could do that with these too? See what I'm saying? Follow it straight up. And what you can do is that you can improvise in that way. Now if you don't like that way, you can just follow the written instructions. Make sure that you chain 1 in between them and you're just putting your goalposts in. So chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and again lay it down. So if this does not look like it's straight up, then it becomes a problem, right? So then I'm following it, see the middle, and that's where I'm going to put the next one. Chain 3 and follow it. I have found whenever I've counted it, it's always been wrong. So if I just eye it up like that and let my eyes do the work, I can get it pretty close. So then at the end of the last one, you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to come into the second one and put in 3 double crochet first. So that whole eyeing up you only have to do when you're coming out of the mesh into something new. So put in 3 and then a treble into the next. And then that was row number 13. So turn it and let's do row number 14 in just a moment. So now I don't have to worry about lining it up with the meshing at all. It's all lined up already for me. So now when I start row number 14, I'm going to slip over to the second one and start at what I already know and chain 5. And double crochet 3 times into the same one. So this is gonna be the ones with the fans, so there's only gonna be 2 chains, and you're gonna come in between the goalpost and put in the fans that you know it. Remember it was double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. So there will be a total of 4 of those like that. Then you're going to chain 2 and go in between the next goalpost right over here and do the same thing, and you'll do that all the way across in your particular sample. Make sure you chain 2 between them and keep working in the goalposts. And then eventually the party will come to an end. So in the very last one, when you get there, chain 2 only because it's a fan, and come into the second one and put in 3 double crochet and then a treble, and that will end row number 14. So let's begin 15 and 16, which will be the repeat for this whole middle section, and then we will talk about that in just a moment. So let's do our repeat first. So rows number 15 and 16 is the repeat. This whole middle section is a large section if you're looking at it from this point of view from height. It's actually got quite a bit in there, and it will take us all the way to the end of row number 28, and currently we are just on number 15, so you have a little bit to do. So when you start row number 15, remember this is what we already know, so you're just going to move on over to your 2, chain your 5. So you're either going to do the goalpost section or you're going to do the fans. It's every other row, right? So once you have your 3 double crochet in the edge, chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and you're going to come in between the in the second one of the fan. My apologies for that. The second one of the fan, chain 1, and then come into the third one of the fan, and then chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then capture that chain 2 space with the single, and then chain 3 and come into the second one of the fan with the double, chain 1 and come into the third one of the fan, and then chain 3 and then come into the chain 2 space in between them. So eventually you'll come into the end, so just do your last fan, and once that last one's in there, you're going to chain 3 and then come into the second one. Okay, that was row number 15. So you'll have to continue to repeat this row over and over, and remember it's 3 double crochet and 1 treble at the end. So turn your work and let's do number 16 in just a second. So 16 is the second part of the repeat, so let's get ourselves over. So if we just did the goalpost in the last one, this time we are going to do the fan shape once again. So chain 5 to begin our journey, and then 3 double crochet. And then chain 2 and then begin. So right in between the goalposts you're gonna put in those fans like you already know it. Make sure there's chains ones that separate those double crochets. So you get your grouping of the 4 in there, chain 2, and then jump to the next goalpost and do those. So do this all the way across. I'll just be quiet for a second. And then eventually the last fan, there will only be chain 2, and then you come into the second one and put in 3 double crochet first, and then a treble. So that will conclude off row number 16. So we're gonna turn your work and let's talk about our repeat, because we're gonna have to keep on doing that over and over for a set period of time. So on the instructions here we need to repeat 15 and 16 over and over. So what I decided to do is that I did 17, 18, 19, 20, and I did all the way to 28. Do you see these 2 markers? That's not me checking it off. What this is means it's the goalpost. It's the goalpost that you see, the two double crochets that are representing goalposts. So 17 has a goalpost, 19, 21, 23, 25 and 27, and that helps me keep count. So when I look over and say, okay, I'm doing row number 19, oh, it's a goalpost, I can just say, okay, this is row number 15, and 18 then would be 16. So I'm going to check this off as I go, and I'm gonna meet you then at the end of row number 28 in just a moment, but I just got a little bit of homework to do and I'll be checking it off on my list. So sit back and enjoy the process, and I'll meet you at the end of row number 28 in just a second. So I've now finished all the way to row number 28. Now 29, when we go to look at it here, is that it's something that we've already done in the past. And so do you see these half double crochets? So this meshing and this is exactly what we started with down here. So when you look at this row as we start to do the mesh, it's the same row is down here. So row number 7 is the same row. So you can just reverse back in this video now to row number 7. Just go look at the time markers in the video description or the comment section and you'll see that. And this is row number 7. So what you're going to do is repeat rows number 7, and you'll do it so that you end up with just 2 of these rows. So it's basically number 7 to 16 once again in order to get the balance. So the middle section is the one that is really spaced out, as you see. So what you're doing here is that you're getting your mesh section. So if you look at it from the other point of view here, you can see that you'll get your mesh and then this. So what I want you to do is I want you to repeat now rows number 7 all the way to 16 once again. So just reverse back the video, and then I'm going to show you how to do the last 2 rows that you see here. And so this is done on the ones that ended up in the fan. So I will begin to do that. So we're going to start with row number 39 in just a second. So once you've repeated rows number 7 through 16 just one time, you're going to start with what I'm about to show you, and this is row number 39. So then you're going to begin by chaining, just slipping over to the second one as you always have been, and you're going to chain a total of 5 and then put 3 double crochet into that same one. So we're getting ourselves to make it look like it's the beginning one. Now you're going to chain only 1, and now in the middle one, the middle space of the fans, you're going to put in 4 double crochet. And once you get the first one done, you're just going to go into the space in between. This is the chain 2 space, and fill that in with 4 double crochet. So what I want you to do is then go to the next one. It's the middle one of that fan, and put in 4, and then the next chain 2 put in 4. So I will do this all the way across, and I'll see you at the end of the row in just a moment to make sure that you finish properly. So once you come all the way across, this is the last one in the fan, and you're going to reach over to the second one over. Make sure you chain 1 before you do that, and then put in 3 double crochet to start. And then a treble, and then that's it. That's row number 39. You're going to turn your work, and let's do row number 40, which is the final, which is going to make it look like a scallop at the end. Before we begin row number 40, we need to fasten this off, and you were just going to just deal with the ends later. Now you remember how we started this row? We want to turn our work and go back to the starting of that same row, and that's where we're going to begin again. This is the right side of the project, and I can tell that anyway by the way that the stitches look as well. So you're going to reattach your yarn at the very beginning again. So at the top, this time at the top of the chain 5. So just slip stitch to join it, and you'll have to deal with that tail in just a little bit. And then you need to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then double crochet in the same one that you just did, like in the beginning one. Now once you have that done, you're going to slip stitch into this chain 1 space. So slip stitch and then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and right into that same slip stitch you're going to apply another double crochet. And now you're going to slip stitch in between the space of the next grouping of 4. So slip stitch first, and then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then double crochet in that same slip stitch there, and then slip in between the next gap, and chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then double crochet in that same slip stitch. You're gonna do that all the way across, and then that will make it look like the other side. So please do that, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Once you get all the way to the other side, you're gonna do the last one and double crochet in the last one there and slip stitch it to the very first one, and then that's it. So I'm gonna show you how to fasten off and use weaving in your tails in just a second. Once you're satisfied and you're done, any tails that you had that you would have had to deal with, you're gonna deal with the same way. So you're just gonna pull through, and you wanna favor the wrong side of the project anyway. It's just something that you should do. And you're going to slam this through a tapestry needle. Now when you're hiding your loose ends, especially when this is a wearable, you want to glide it into the stitch work a total of 3 times. So going through once, and when you pull on it, don't change the shape of it, and then go through a second time, a different path, and then a third time on a different path. And therefore you can safely cut this, because it should never ever fall out on you, because it's getting stuck within the fibers itself. So you see it's kind of like I'm trying to weasel it on its way out, so it's harder to get tails to fall out when they do that. So you wanna do that with all your loose ends, and you can see that you'll end up with a very nice edging, and this is a really cool concept. And you can see even though I did the different yarn, it actually still looks great, and that's something that you can improvise with as well. So this is the Delicate Shells Crochet, or the Delicate Shells Crochet Shawl by yarnspirations.com. We hope you had a good day today, and we hope to see you again another time when you're available to do another project. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.